Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce celebration of Small Business Week and our Mayor's Salute. It's very exciting to see representatives of so many of our neighborhoods, neighboring municipalities. I'd like to thank you all for your valuable time and willingness to participate in this event. I hope that this is indicative of a future where we are all benefit from collaboration as we work together to recover economically, socially, and personally from the extraordinary challenges that we've faced and continue to face as we navigate the COVID-19 global pandemic. I would like to take a moment before I introduce our facilitators to thank the members of our organizing committee, Rob Dell from Alta Vista, who is a member of our board of directors, and Janet Yates, the owner of the Black Forest Cottages and a member of our chamber. They have worked diligently to create an event that will launch an environment of partnership as we grapple with managing new initiatives and restrictions, opportunities, and limitations. I would also like to acknowledge the efforts of our administrator, Sarah Ritchie, who has done a remarkable job in managing all of the logistics and creative components of tonight's event. One of our closest neighbors, the Collingwood Chamber of Commerce, is unable to join us tonight. To Trish, the general manager, we wish a speedy recovery and thank you for your best wishes. Trish has asked me to share with you that while they're operating on reduced hours, the COVID-19 rapid test kit program, which they have spearheaded for our region, has been a resounding success. Over 10,000 businesses between Owen Sound and Barrie are registered, providing weekly results, and up to 30 businesses a day are inquiring about the program. I would like to extend our thanks to the Chamber for taking the lead on this essential program as we work to protect the health and well-being of workers, customers, and business owners across our region. Michelle and John Smay are the owners of Massimo's Athletics. Michelle was born and raised in Wasaga Beach and is an avid fitness competitor. John has been a local resident for 34 years and is the father of two. They are full of life, and in 2021, they have brought a burst of energy to our business after five facilitators. Welcome, Michelle and John.
Thank you so much, Leslie.
Hi guys, thank you so much. We are super excited to be here for this special event with everybody, and we have a jam-packed agenda, so we want to jump right in tonight.
Do we? I just wanted to say I'm happy to be here with everybody on this live tonight. I feel like both of us know some of you, even if we haven't met in person. Just another little bit of history. Michelle worked for Pride Marine Group for 10 years, so she is super familiar with Oro Medante in the Severn Townships. And although we haven't met you folks personally, we definitely know you. I know Brian, we know you from the town of Collingwood, but a little side note, my son also did some campaigning with him. So the world is so small, and it's amazing that we live in such an amazing community here. I know Doug from Clearview Township. We were residents there for 12 years, and we are back in Wasaga. So Michelle is born and raised here. We lived together as a couple in Wasaga first in our journey as a couple, but then we're out in Clearview for 12 years. But we're back in Wasaga. I mean, there's something here that is pretty special, and I feel like the best is yet to come, not only for Wasaga, but for everybody in this Georgian Triangle and area. So thank you guys. So today we are going to kick off the Mayor Salute with greetings from Mayor Bifolci from the town of Wasaga Beach, followed by a report from the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce President Leslie Leastru, who you guys just met. We have a keynote speaker, business strategist, and author of the 50-year-old millennial, Marc Petitpas, who is up next. So you're going to be able to discover the leadership gap exposed by millennials, how to close it, and reshape the way you look at work. I definitely need to get this book for my kids because they are millennials. I can't wait to see this information. Following Mark's keynotes address, we'll have some business trivia and prizes to give away. Then we're going to move into our speaker panel with our guests of honor. We're going to welcome mayors and chamber leaders from within our region. The speaker panel will be followed by a Q&A, announcements and upcoming events, more trivia, another prize giveaway, as well as fun and exciting live auction. So get ready for this live auction. It's going to be like crazy. This will also be followed by the typical closing remarks, but when I say typical, we are still keeping some secrets held out for you guys. So to begin, we would like to welcome Her Worship, Nina Bifolci, Mayor of Wasaga Beach. Nina Bifolci has been a member of the Wasaga Beach Town Council since 2006. She has served 2 terms as a councillor and 1 term as deputy mayor. This is her first term as mayor. Now, while on council, Nina has served on various other town committees. In this term of council, she has devoted a substantial amount of time to the Twin Pad Arena and Library Steering Group, as well as the Economic Recovery Task Force. She also serves as the council's representatives on the Chamber of Commerce. Nina is in her 2nd term as the County of Simcoe councillor. Through her work at the county, Nina is chair of the county's Regional Government Review for Service Delivery. She is also the former chair of the County of Simcoe's Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, which looks after social housing needs throughout the region. As a member of County Council, Nina helped bring a new affordable housing complex to our community, the 99-unit facilities on Zoo Park Road. In addition, Nina is the former chair of the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority. Nina meets regularly with upper tier levels of government, raising local concerns with ministers and bureaucrats. The mother of 3 grown children, she is a dedicated member of the community and for many years has volunteered her time on the executive of the Wasaga Beach Minor Hockey. Nina grew up in a family business of entrepreneurs and has also owned and operated her own business. We want to now welcome Her Worship, Nina Bifolci, Mayor of the town of Wasaga Beach.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Michelle and John. It's a pleasure to be here. And when I looked at the agenda, I was quite happy to see so many of my fellow mayors joining us this evening. These last 2 years have been extremely difficult for many businesses, and I want to commend owners and employees for their tenacity. Council has looked for ways to offer support during the pandemic, and as a result, in the early days, established the Business Recovery Task Force. Some of the ways the task force has assisted are through print, radio, and digital marketing campaigns that encourage local shopping. Special events such as Flavors of the Beach program, Wasaga Sundays program, and our Support Local Parking Ticket program. Our Open Patios program, Open Patios Music program, Open Parks program, our Support Local coupon book, and our Discover Wasaga Beach supplement distributed to Toronto Star readers in the GTA and Waterloo area. In addition, we created Business Recovery Portal on our website, providing local businesses an extensive amount of additional resources to help them navigate the pandemic. On top of this, our economic development staff liaise with businesses on a regular basis to ensure open dialogue. We are also making investments that will ensure continued economic success in our town. This includes our Twin Pad Arena and Library project, redevelopment of our beachfront, investments in water and sewer infrastructure, and much more. In September, we broke ground for the Arena and Library project, and construction is underway. This project represents $59 million investment in our community, and it will be complete in the summer of 2023. 2 NHL ice surfaces, an indoor walking track, meeting space, a new library, kitchen space. These are all part of the new facility, which will enhance local life and support the economy. Earlier this year, we identified Slate Asset Management as the preferred developer for our town-owned beachfront lands. Slate is proposing a phased approach to the redevelopment, starting with mixed-use buildings, townhomes, and mid-rise condominiums. Landscaped areas, patios, and pedestrian walkways are an important component of the phasing. Negotiations continue with Slate, and I hope to share more in the near future. Ultimately, this will help revitalize an important area in our community. The casino project remains a go-to. While the pandemic has held things up, the situation is changing. As people may have noticed, some construction preparation is taking place in the West End site, and we hope to see things kick into high gear very soon. Once open, the casino will mean new jobs, new revenue for the municipality, new entertainment options, and new dining choices. It will serve as a catalyst for this end of our town. Various residential building projects continue throughout our community too. To date, we have issued 635 building permits, including 137 for single-family homes, almost 200 for townhomes, and nearly half a dozen for semi-detached homes. The value of this construction is $173 million. This fall, the Sunnydale Trails project is coming online. This involves 2,750 new homes, starting with Pacific Homes beginning construction of 50 homes this fall. Approximately 7,000 people will call this part of our town home someday. To support this, we have approved in principle a major community park as part of the development in partnership with Pacific Homes. This almost 5-acre site will include a market area, covered skating rink and outdoor play surface, mini soccer field, pickleball court, space for a splash pad, and a trail system. A new elementary school will be built next to this park, and it will open September 2023. In relation to the school, we have approved a joint use and cost-sharing agreement with the Simcoe County District School Board that gives us access to the new school's gym, shared parking and soccer pitch, and some related amenities. This represents great value for our residents as we will be able to access this space weeknights and on weekends. And I'm happy to say that a high school is planned in the development parcel to the north, and the school board will determine when to advance that project. Meanwhile, Zancor has expressed interest in moving forward with the development of our business park in the West End. I hope to have more to share about this in the near future. This will create new opportunities for our business community and for people looking to locate a business here. This represents an overview of the projects we have kept moving forward throughout the pandemic. These projects contribute to the health of our economy now and will continue to do so in the years ahead. We have a lot on the go in Wasaga Beach. These things do not happen overnight. They take time and proper planning. Wasaga Beach did not turn off the lights and send its staff home during the pandemic. We knew our community depended on us far too much for that. Instead, we put the proper safety protocols in place to keep our workplace healthy and continued with our task, ensuring service delivery for the people of Wasaga Beach. We are seeing our hard work pay off now and will continue to see the benefits in the months and years ahead. So again, thank you for the invitation to be here, and welcome to all of our guests from other communities.
Oh, thank you so much, Your Worship. It's a pleasure always hearing from you. And, you know, when you just touch on, you know, the type of development, I do sit on the Committee of Adjustment. It is a volunteer position, but boy, let me tell you, we have had our hands full this year. It's crazy. So, but I'm so excited. Like I said, I think, yes, the best is yet to come for sure.
All right, guys. Well, we would like to welcome back Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce President Leslie Listro. Leslie is the Director of Administration of Cathkin Truman Foster Homes with 40 years private sector experience in business administration. She believes that excellent service and quality are imperative in the development and delivery of procedures and objectives in any organization. Leslie, welcome back.
Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure for me, I think, tonight to welcome all of the participants. Today we're celebrating Small Business Week, as well as tipping our hats to our mayors and municipal leaders who strive to provide leadership amid the COVID pandemic. We are all faced with adapting to changes to our professional lives to accommodate this new reality as we comply with public health guidelines, the redefinition of social interaction, and the shift to a digital marketplace, which has impacted not only our day-to-day life, but also our business strategies at every level. This past year has highlighted the adaptability and generosity of our neighbors as they continue to support our community organizations. We would like to commend our frontline workers and recognize the sense of solidarity of our residents who have supported our local economy. The Chamber has demonstrated its commitment to supporting local businesses by adopting innovative ways to provide service, support members and consumers, and embrace change. In our efforts to be a leading sustainable support organization for trade and commerce in Wasaga Beach, we've utilized our newsletter to provide our members with up-to-date information on the changing guidelines, the government initiatives, including economic support and health measures. Some of these measures include easy access to COVID-19 rapid test kits and personal protective equipment, webinars providing information on economic recovery and funding opportunities, and the development of a digital presence, as well as information on community events. The newsletter also focuses on communicating to our local businesses' efforts as they provide modified services, including curbside pickups and delivery. Social media also has taken a more significant role in our efforts to communicate with our members and the community at large. We continue to endorse the digital marketplace web portal that allows quick access to information about local businesses and their services. As we begin to reopen, we're partnering with many local and regional organizations in an effort to share information on opportunities and resources available to meet operating requirements and enhance future goods and service delivery. Tonight's event is just one example of this. Our Business After 5 events have also transitioned to a virtual platform. This initiative provides modified service. Wait a minute, I apologize. This initiative provides our members with the opportunity to share their successes and challenges throughout this pandemic. According to the Royal Bank of Canada, there are new long-term business trends emerging. These include an increased interest in supporting local business, a transition to web-based business models, and an increased interest in health, the well-being of workers and consumers, and sanitation in the workplace. In response to this, the Chamber will continue to assist local businesses in providing these resources in an easily accessible manner. Business After 5 topics that are scheduled will include knowing your resources, information on cyber protection, health and safety training, and provide our members with an opportunity to share their successes and challenges throughout the future. Other issues that are geared to equip our members with tools needed to be successful in this evolving environment will also be provided. We continue to explore ways that our Chamber can provide resources to our members that will aid them in adapting to the post-COVID environment. As 2022 approaches, the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce will ensure through advocacy, education, and networking that we provide our members with current usable tools and opportunities to sustain and emerge with increased knowledge and resources. We will work together to defeat the pandemic and recover from its effects. Our business community, from brick and mortar to home-based business to not-for-profits, have been forced to adapt and will continue to adapt to these challenges. The Chamber is here to help. I look forward to hearing tonight of the experiences of our surrounding communities and collaborating in the future as we partner towards our recovery. While the post-pandemic future has many unknowns, I have confidence that together we will emerge with strong connections, increased knowledge, and a determination to succeed. Thank you all for participating and giving us an opportunity to share our experiences and knowledge.
Thank you very much, Leslie, for sharing your passion and initiative. It definitely, we feel grateful that we have you on board here. So thank you. Michelle?
Wow, without further ado, I'm excited to introduce our keynote speaker of this evening. We would like to introduce you to the 50-year-old millennial and today's keynote speaker, Marc Petitpas. Marc says that whether you are an entrepreneur or CEO or making the transition from team member to manager or moving up the ranks to the senior management team, you need to motivate your employees, build your company's culture, and lead your teams to new heights. Marc is the CEO of the Marc Petitpas Group. He's here today to share with you, with all of us, how to scale the human side of your business. Marc's mission is to help you become an effective leader and build great teams that build momentum for your organization. Marc is passionate about the skills needed to develop your team in order to empower them to take good care of your customer. He believes a good opportunity exists for leaders to take ownership in improving mental health in our country by better serving their people to have more successful careers and hence healthier lives. Prior to starting his own business in June of 2020, Marc was president of Dunshire Developments. He was responsible for achieving their strategic operating goals, including all aspects of land acquisitions, development, home building operations, customer care, sales, marketing, and most importantly, leadership. Marc ensured the overall creation and adherences to all project timelines, overall quality of craftsmanship, health and safety of all persons, and customer satisfaction, as well as the growth of the Dunshire team into a new era based on a strategic plan anchored in Severn leadership philosophies. Looking back, Marc started his career in retail and in over a 20-year span. He excelled in leadership roles with companies such as TELUS Mobility, Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, The Printing House, and Fusion Homes. Marc lives by a philosophy and set of practices that enriches the lives of individuals, builds better organizations, and ultimately creates a just more caring world. He has presented to MBA classes at both Ryerson and the University of Guelph. And he's also been a keynote speaker for many well-known organizations, including the Guelph Chamber of Commerce and Metroland Media. Marc is committed to teaching practical leadership skills that you can begin applying to your business immediately. So I'm super excited to hear from Marc. Marc, welcome.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you for that kind, warm introduction. I appreciate that. Maybe just a couple quick plugs before I start in. I'm going to try and share in 10 minutes the high level of an 8-hour training or a extremely valuable book on Amazon. I just moved to Wasaga, just as a side note. We've been coming up here for 3 or 4 summers because my in-laws have been here. And since I started my own consulting business, I can be anywhere because my customers are all over North America. So where home is didn't matter. And my wife and kids and I moved up here. We've been here for 3 months and I just love this town. I am honestly in love with Wasaga Beach. I think it's the water because I'm a maritimer originally. But I just love being here and I love everything about it. And I plan to contribute and help the community in any way I can. When I'm done my board duties at Chamber in Guelph. So as much as I can get involved in the community and help, I'm glad to. So that's a little bit about me on top of the intro. And again, thanks for that, Michelle. So why did I write the book and why do I want to share that in 10 minutes or less? I was blessed with, sorry, next slide, Sarah. Sorry about that. We'll keep moving right through it. And we can move one more, actually. So I was blessed with these 2 people here. And I still have a hard time doing this without crying, so bear with me. It's my mom and dad. My dad was a military guy, served for 25 years, and then his private life was at Pratt & Whitney, Canada, when he was done serving. My mom is the life of the party maritimer woman. She made sure there was a smile on everybody's face before she'd sit down, before she'd take a break. She raised 5 boys. I'm the youngest of 5. Those type of people have a dramatic impact on your life. And as I went through and looked back in business, I realized that I grew up with servant leadership. I grew up with strategy and execution. And my dad was the strategy guy. Let's get everything done. It needs to be done on time and keep everybody in order and be punctual. And mom was the hold on, is everybody smiling? Is everyone taken care of? Are they all set up for success? And that's what brought her joy and happiness. And I didn't realize it until I was 20 years into my business career, looking up to the Simon Sineks of the world and the John Maxwells, that I had Mary and Wayne Petitpas. And so it was one of the big motivators for me to write the book. And then I was lucky to work for great leaders that allowed me to see little pieces of process that they did naturally that I could put into an actual process and start to share with other people. You know, I had a gentleman by the name of Bob Hunter at Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment, and Richard Petty, who was the CEO, and Jackie Fu at Bell. And all these great leaders taught me individual processes on the way they led. And I've been able to say, okay, servant leadership has this knock of being soft and huggy, if you've heard about it, but it's extremely measurable and it's very repeatable. The only thing is you have to actually care about your people. And if you care about your people and you care about closing their learning gaps and celebrating their wins, as you grow your people, how's that not good for your business? And so I was able to learn that from those individuals. And I'll give you a little more specifics in a couple slides of what those things are. I wanted to leave a process for anyone who was willing to follow. I wanted people to learn from tough times. You know, I lost my brother and my dad in the same year. I lost my job. I was the president of Dunsire, and I said, when the pandemic started, if we lose one employee, we start with me. Well, the owner gave me my wish the next day. and off I went into the entrepreneurial world to chase what I've always wanted to do. And I really believe we can grow business by growing people's skills and ultimately improving mental health in our country. Because when you think about it, we spend half our time at work. And if you work for a company that doesn't have the right values, or you have a miserable boss, how do you go home at night? You don't go home in a good space. And so if we can improve people's performance while improving their satisfaction at work, growing the bottom line, we can actually impact mental health positively. So next slide, Sarah. Why servant leadership? It's good for employee development. So if you as a leader hold yourself accountable to putting a process in place that identifies gaps, hold people accountable to result, but you own closing that gap, and giving them the knowledge to succeed and the resources, every individual gets better. And if you have a small organization, it's just you and 1 or 2 employees, think of the impact. If you have a larger organization and your CEO believes in this and your senior executives do, and it cascades to your directors and your managers, think about everybody getting better following these processes at what they do, what that will mean for your business. It's also great for your customer, because if you have an engaged employee who cares about what they do because they feel they're cared for, that's going to show up for your customer every day. And again, I really think we can change the world through mental health protection, and that starts with servant leadership. The problem with servant leadership is there's a lot of great speakers out there, but no one tells you how to do it. No one says, like, here's a process. And I was just lucky to work for some great people that I've put one together. And I'm going to share that here in a slide or two. Sarah, next slide. So in my book and in my servant leadership training, and I do strategic planning, execution, and facilitation and sales training, all that stuff that I've learned in those great organizations. But for me, it all starts with leadership, because if you can't get people to develop, you don't stand a chance with your strategic plan, no matter how good it is, because people won't execute it. You won't do well in sales because they don't have the behaviors and the skills, because they don't trust you to see success in the sales department. So it all starts with leadership. So in this book, which is a very easy read on Amazon, I wrote it saying, you got to be able to pick it up and put it down and be done. And so it's like an hour and 37-minute read. It's easy. It's the type of book that even I could read, is the way I push it. It's a manual and a manifesto. So in this book, there's 5 anchors that I speak to, and I'll spend the next 3 or 4 minutes and then close up here on this slide. Number 1 is, when you talk about key performance indicators, and a lot of organizations, know their metrics and they coach on the number, it's not what changes the result. Behaviors change the result. So you have to put in processes that are repeatable to change behaviors by developing people. Now, before you can even do that, you got to be able to connect. We're humans. We won't take feedback from people we don't trust. Even if we have to, because they're our boss, we'll only give them the minimal. But if someone can connect with us and understand us, we're more open and willing to learn their feedback. So I teach in the training and in this book a connection meeting, and that's simply what I call opening the emotional bank account. How do you put deposits in the account before you got to take out a withdrawal that's some negative feedback? How do you find out how the person likes to be led through past experiences? And I go into a lot of details that I can't today in 10 minutes, but specifically the behaviors you as a leader can ask your team member to get them to open up, to find out how they want to be led so they can succeed. And then weekly one-on-ones, again, how do you coach someone on a regular basis? Some organizations can't do them every week, they do them every month. But again, those look like, hey, let's talk about last week's results. Here's where you did well. Why do you think you were so successful? Hey, that one's struggling a little bit. What do you think the gap is? And so what you're doing is you're getting the employee to self-identify where they need help. Now, your job as the servant leader is to ask those questions and impart your knowledge and the resources that they don't have. Once people can adapt the behavior and own it, that's where they repeat that behavior. And then I do a third piece called Coaching During the Game. There's a gentleman by the name of Tom Peters in the 80s, wrote a book about management by wandering around. I've modernized it to call it Coaching During the Game. I do another chapter on professional development strategies. How do you develop next in lines? How do you give them learning opportunities before the promotion exists? And it's not always about promotion, it's about skill gaps and learning more and having more responsibilities. People want to learn, and that's usually where they stay. And then lastly, I teach, I talked to in the book, is how to write a proper performance review. If you're dreading writing a performance review, it's probably because you haven't put in the work in the first 4 steps. They're chronological. So if you connect with someone, you know how they like feedback. If you have weekly one-on-ones, guess how easy your yearly performance review is to write. What do we do when we write a yearly performance review? It's, what do I remember over the last 4 weeks? Yeah, you had a good year. Well, hold on, you're evaluating 52 weeks. So how do you put all these things together? And that gets employees to stay. And so the whole thing about the Millennial book isn't about the millennials are, highly demanding and we've got to adapt to be like them. No, the millennials, the reason I wrote the book, and you can't be 50 and a millennial, But the reason I wrote the book is the millennials, the first generation that's saying, I'll go somewhere else if I don't get this leadership. They have identified the gap and we need to close it. Because my dad went to work, brought his brown bag, and if the boss said do it, he did it. You can fight as much as you want. That ain't happening anymore. So you've got a labor shortage and you've got a workforce that can go online and look at Glassdoor and see where's a good place to work with good leaders and where's a bad place to work. And so we have to close that gap. And the millennials are just the first generation to vote with their feet. They will leave. And so I don't know how I shared a book in 10 minutes, but I really did, and an 8-hour course, but that's it. But I do want to leave you with what I consider the 2 core behaviors for leaders below all these processes. So next slide, Sarah, and last slide. If you do 2 things really well, if you run a business, or you want to improve your relationships, or you want to grow, number 1, become an expert in inquiry versus advocacy. It applies to career development, leadership, sales, and that is your ability to investigate before speaking. It doesn't mean you don't advocate, you don't express your view, is you inquire first. So you make sure you're helping in the right manner before you advocate. And the second thing is be on the lookout for willingness versus knowledge. These are the 2 things that have never failed me in any of my leadership programs. Always be on the lookout for the learning gaps as you set goals for your team, and take ownership to close those. People ask me, okay, Mark, this is great, but like, when is it time that someone should go? And I'm saying, once you've given them the skill through one of these 5 processes, they've demonstrated that they can do it, they just choose not to, that's a willingness gap, and that's a tough thing to coach. But if they don't know, and it's a new gap that you can train and close, you gotta have lots of time for those people and keep them. That's how they learn and grow, and those are knowledge gaps. So that is a book, a course, an 8-hour course in about 10 minutes. I hope it added value. And if anyone has any questions they want to put in the chat, I guess, so we can keep clicking along, we can. Or Sarah, on the next slide, I think I have my contact info. Yep, so you can find the book online. I have a website for it. You can just go to Amazon. My corporate page is marcpetitpas.com. And you can find me on Instagram babbling about stuff I really believe in.
It's awesome, Mark. Thank you. Through your whole conversation, especially those last 2 points, she's nudging me because I know there's certain communication gaps. She's like, hit me on, like, listen to what he's saying. So yeah, all of what you're saying applies to not just the work relationship, but any relationship, which is really cool. I love it. There's a saying that I've heard that if you help 10 people achieve their goals or their dreams, you'll never have to want for anything in your life. And I believe what you're saying is based on that similar type of principle. So it's really cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
Are there any questions for Mark right now while we have him on here? Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Okay. Well, we will slowly move on to see here. So we have right now, Mark, some prizes as well. And we've got a trivia prize giveaway.
And I think Mark donated some prizes, yes? Aha.
So we have,
yeah, exciting.
yeah, so we have 2 prize giveaways, and the first is Mark's book, The 50-Year-Old Millennial. And so we are going to post a question, and we are asking for you to put the correct letter corresponding to the answer in the chat. So the first person.
Oh, we didn't even get to read it?
Well, let's read it. Let's read it.
Laura Secord started out as a handmade chocolate shop in Toronto in 1913 and sold chocolate and ice cream in over 120 locations. Who or what was the store named after? A, the owner's daughter. B, a shop in England. C, the owner's wife. D, Canadian heroine.
So we have a bunch of D's that came through, but I see Leslie threw down a D first. I see Alan has thrown down a D second as well. Stan, Sylvia has an A, Janet A, and so
who's the winner? Who's the winner?
Leslie was the first to hit the button.
Yes, but I already have Mark's book, which I'm is on my to-do list.
Alan
Please pass it along to number 2, Rob.
Alan Lafontaine from the Aurelia Chamber. Congratulations, Alan.
Awesome. So do we have the correct answer on a slide? I think we do. Did we see it? There it is. D, a Canadian
Yeah.
heroine. Very good. So yeah, congrats to those that all guessed. And that was an amazing question.
And there's the notes there on how to pick up your book or email the office chamber for your copy.
Right. So there it is. We are moving on. There was a question here.
No, it was just somebody introducing themselves.
Okay. Just an introduction. Very good.
Just want to make sure we weren't missing any questions.
Yeah. Any questions for Mark? Okay. So let's move on. We have another book to give away from Mark with another trivia question. So
I'm going to read this really fast this time.
Michelle's going to read it fast. Here we go.
Which company is the largest independent manufacturer of ice cream in Canada? A, Ben & Jerry's. B, Chapman. C, Breyers. D, Baskin Robbins. Oh, somebody said A already. Oh, we got a
Sharon
B.
got it.
Who?
Sharon.
Where? Oh,
Sharon,
right there,
right
right
there.
there. All right, well, you guys are fast.
Quick.
Okay, so we already have a winner. That means the answer was B.
Chapman's. So again, picking up your book at 2115 Mosley Street, anytime between Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Congratulations. I think it was Sharon who got that.
Or you can email as well.
Yeah. So now it is our great honor to introduce our panel of speakers tonight from the surrounding region, including Aurelia, Oro Medonte, Severn, Clearview, Collingwood, and the Blue Mountains. Given the state of our world and living in a new normal after recent lockdowns, we're excited to connect with all of you here tonight and listen to how your town and business community is managing through the pandemic, the initiatives employed to support local businesses, and your visions for the future. So I'm really super pleased to announce right here from the city of Aurelia, His Worship Steve Clark, the Mayor of Aurelia. Steve and his wife, Chris, have lived in Aurelia and operated their businesses for 28 years. They've raised 4 children, Joel, Jenna, Josh, and Jacoby, and now the next generation begins with Audrey and Quinn.
Steve has a strong appreciation for the heritage and cultural character of Aurelia. He even named his business Brewery Bay after the picturesque spot on Lake Couchiching where Stephen Leacock spent his summers.
Stephen has a lengthy track record of active support for the Aurelia community. He was a community sports coach for over 17 years and supported numerous community causes and charities.
In recognition of his community service, Steve was awarded the Rotary Club's Paul Harris Award. The Aurelia and District Chamber of Commerce has also recognized his work with the Strengthening Our Community Award and the Hats Off Award. Steve was named Business Leader of the Year with his wife, Chris, as well as Citizen of the Year.
Welcome His Worship, Steve Clark, Mayor of Aurelia. I wanted to give that little sound effect.
Thanks. I don't know, that person you just described sounds a lot older than I am. But thanks very much for that introduction. And Mark, thanks for the presentation. As mentioned, yes, I am the mayor of the Sunshine City, and very proudly so. Just about wrapping up my 7th year, and as also mentioned, a business owner within the community for almost 29 years, and my daughter now has a fairly robust business in the core of the city as well. So certainly vested in the community, and the one question I have for everybody also is what is this pandemic everybody speaks of? I'm of course that's with tongue firmly planted in the cheek. I can't imagine every single day for the last year and a half that all of our lives haven't been touched by the pandemic in some way, shape, or form, whether you're politically involved or in business or even just a citizen. Of course, and in the last year and a half, I've been involved in almost 400 emergency management meetings. We've done 60 videos, updates, or educational videos, whatever you wish to call them, largely around health and safety issues, but also around in videos to support the local economy and local businesses. So the province announced the state of emergency on I think it began to start St. Paddy's Day, March 17th. 2020, three days later, we declared within the city. Within 2 weeks of that, we asked a member of council, Ted Eamon, to fire up and chair an emergency emergency recovery task force, and with a couple other members of council and staff and some key business or partner stakeholders within the community, including the Chamber of Commerce and Alan, who is with us tonight. And I'm glad to see Alan as part of the panel. Also the Community Development Corporation and our local BIA, affectionately known as Downtown Aurelia Management Board. Council saw fit to put $100,000 on the table for not-for-profit organizations, lead social service delivery organizations at the beginning of the pandemic who may have found themselves short. And we also put $1 million aside for economic recovery, and that is, of course, what has resourced a lot of the initiatives taken by the ERTF. And make no mistake about it, health and safety in our community all the way along has been a #1 priority. And of course, that can, in some people's eyes, create a conflict between the vitality of a business and, of course, the health and safety of a community. And I will commend Alan and his team, and I know Alan's with us tonight, because the Chamber of Commerce, of course, is the one of the most significant business voices in the community. But the Chamber also did a wonderful job of striking that balance between health and safety and keeping our helping to keep our businesses afloat. And certainly, what is best for our local economy, I think, by all accounts, is to get out of this pandemic as soon as possible so they can get back to business as relatively normal as it was before, although I think we would all admit that business is going to be somewhat different going forward. Some of the measures put in place by the city for businesses through our ERTF, the Recovery Task Force. We consulted with many different sectors to find out what their needs were. We certainly had a robust shop local campaign, as Alan did with the Chamber of Commerce. We had a See You on the Patio program, which was a way of cutting through some of the red tape that people would have to go through on an annual basis to normally put a patio in public spaces or even in certain private spaces. And that was throughout the whole city. We had a really interesting campaign called the 20-Minute Grant Challenge. We discovered that a lot of people within our community were not applying for the provincial grant. So we had an educational webinar on how to do that, and we had a significant spike in uptake or in the filling out of the applications for the provincial assistance. We had free transits. We put free parking in the core of the city. We designated areas for curbside pickup, and we allowed people to defer their property taxes as some of the other things. And certainly we have and will continue to lobby the province and the federal government for continued support for our businesses. Our bylaw staff, or our municipal law enforcement officers, also played a significant role. Certainly they were charged or tasked with helping to apply the measures or restrictions brought in by our medical officers of health in the province. And they did that. It wasn't always fun, but they did do that. But one of the important reasons for doing that was to make sure that we were creating an even playing field. We did not want businesses within one sector to have significant competitive edge over other businesses. So as I say, not easy, but it was certainly something that we did. Another measure that we brought in that was, quite frankly, tough to do, and I know I spoke with Mayor Saunderson about this, and Mayor Dolan in Innisfil, and Mayor Lehman and Barrie, and two other members of the panel tonight, Mayor Hughes and Mayor Burkett. We brought in restrictions that are on parking in our waterfront. Our waterfront is absolutely robust in our summer months, but we were facing situations where we had uncontrollable numbers and uncontrollable behavior, and some of it was irresponsible behavior. So we put significant restrictions in place. Weren't always popular for that, but working with Mayor Burkett and Mayor Hughes and the other Mayor Clark, and the chief of RAMA, at least for this past season, we were able to include our surrounding neighbors and allowing them to park in our waterfront. So not easy, but something that we certainly had to do. And that was also one of those things that was in conflict in some ways with local businesses. Although it kept our community safer, and by all accounts it did, I'm quite sure, and Alan will probably echo the same thing, that it did cost, I know it cost our Chamber of Commerce and Business because our boating business was slower, but also some of our local businesses. And I know I don't want to take all Alan's steam, but I will say the partnership with the Chamber of Commerce has been terrific since the minute that declaration was made, and they have done things that found a local supply of PPE and had that available for businesses in the community, and certainly led a campaign to distribute rapid testing for businesses so that they could test their employees and make sure they could still stay open. Certainly see a number of issues going forward. Some of these did exist before the campaign, and some of them have been exacerbated since the beginning of the campaign. Housing, as I'm sure most of the people around the screen are aware, has gone from being an issue before the pandemic to being an absolute crisis in all urban centers, and I think also in a number of rural centers as well, or rural areas. And of course, that all the affordability of housing can affect the economic health and well-being of those that we employ in our businesses. Certainly, our businesses are going to continue to struggle for a while as they continue to crawl out of the negative cash flow situation they may still find themselves in. Staffing, the question I have is, where have all our workers gone? It's one interesting issue. It's across many sectors: transportation, construction, healthcare, hospitality, and even our municipal sector is experiencing a shortage of staff. Certainly a number of people have changed careers since the beginning of the campaign. They had a moment of truth, I suppose, where they decided to take advantage of the opportunity. And I know in August alone, 180,000 Canadians changed not just jobs, they changed careers. Certainly the CERB, the payment from the federal government allowed some people a little more flexibility and maybe changed their jobs or left their jobs. And certainly many people have retired. It's certainly in certain sectors, certainly healthcare would be probably first and foremost. So a lot of sectors finding themselves short on quality employees. We continue to see a struggle with supply chain issues. And certainly, as anybody in politics in this call will know, add to a pandemic, a hurricane in Texas last year, and as an example of a supply chain issue, almost every municipality in Ontario had issues getting paint for our roads. And we were not even able to put lines in our roads until this past July. The other issue, I think, on the horizon, we've heard about our inflation rate in the last number of days. I think the federal government's only going to be able to withstand those kind of numbers so very long, for so long rather. And of course, interest rates are probably going to start climbing, and which will not be good news for many businesses as well. Having said that little doom and gloom scenario, I do believe the future is bright. I think it may take us a while to fully realize that. Minister McNaughton, the Minister of Labor today, I thought made a terrific announcement. I think long overdue, as he admitted today. The province is going to start recognizing foreign credentials in many situations for professionals and for trades. Our trade, I do think the province also needs to even go further with our trades and sent people in one way or another, one way, shape, or form to get involved in the trades, because that's going to become a crisis if it isn't already, and I suggest it probably is. And I also believe to be competitive, Mark calls himself a 50-year-old millennial. I believe that the millennial demographic, which is absolutely significant, has a different set of expectations than perhaps people did in my generation. And businesses are going to have to be competitive. Certainly, they're going to have to pay a significant dollar. They have to contemplate what the work week looks like. I think there's a lot of expectation now that 3 days a week is going to become the norm. And certainly, if you are in business or you're an employer and you don't and you have a business that can offer work from home and you don't, you're going to be less competitive than many other businesses. And I'll throw in there as an example, Nordia, which is a very good call center we've had in Aurelia for quite a number of years, roughly 300 employees. They got a hold of my office about 2 years ago and said, Mr. Mayor, it's been a nice run, but we're going to consolidate our operations and we're going to take the people in Aurelia and put those jobs in other centers in Ontario and beyond. The pandemic hit the Philippines and they called me back and said, well, we actually need to keep the operation open a while longer because we had to shut down part of our operation in the Philippines. What happened? So then, of course, the pandemic ended up in Ontario, as we all know. And then they discovered that they had to ship people to their houses and to their homes rather to operate from home. They have since realized that that's a great working model. And so the good news in that scenario is that we were able to save about the 300 jobs and people are still in the area, though almost exclusively working from home. And locally, I will tell you, I'm sure Mayor Bifolci and Mayor Saunderson in our urban centers and the other mayors that I meet with on a regular basis, which includes Mayor Hughes and Mayor Burkett, that the local economy, the interest in the local area is phenomenal, whether it's residential for housing, whether it's housing starts. Our building permits have been a record year after year for about 5 years in a row. Our employment land is getting swallowed up. We did a major deal with Hydro One, and they now are opening their provincial operations center in the next couple of months in Aurelia, and that will provide, and then a provincial warehouse and a local operations center as well, a control center, which will provide great jobs for a long time. Because one of the things we have to continue to work on in Aurelia is what I would describe as a relatively low average family income. And tied in with that and tied in with downtown vibrancy, we have 10 acres right between our beautiful waterfront and our heritage downtown that we're just about to complete an RFP process with, and with a developer that Collingwood is very familiar with Fram, and that will bring many more residents living in our downtown area, and certainly a number of businesses and provide a number of customers for local businesses. And almost lastly, during the pandemic, I know as Mayor Bifolci was referencing a recreation center, we also opened up about a $55 million recreation center in the middle of the pandemic, and just now we're actually getting to the point where we're able to use it on a more normal basis. But I also believe that was the last piece of infrastructure that will make really a mature small urban center. And very lastly, as I'm sure I've gone over time, just this week we've launched a campaign called the Be Kind campaign, where we want to recognize and encourage random acts of kindness within our community. And the tie-in with the business is this is a branded campaign, and we're going to be taking branding material and signage to these businesses, and also little rewards that these businesses can hand out to customers who exemplify this. Anyway, thank you very much. I probably sped talk because I knew I was restricted by time, and very glad to be a part of the procession. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Worship. It was great hearing the initiatives and the inventiveness that you and Council and the Chamber of Commerce of Aurelia had spearheaded throughout this time. And I super appreciate the knowledge base that you've shared with us this evening. Next, we would like to introduce the Mayor of the Township of Oro-Medonte. I would like to introduce His Worship, Harry Hughes, Mayor of the Township of Oro-Medonte.
Harry Hughes is honored to continue to serve as Mayor for the Township of Oro-Medonte for a 4th consecutive term. In addition, Mayor Hughes served as Deputy Warden for the County of Simcoe for 4 years. He chaired the County of Simcoe Audit Committee and served as the County Council representative to Georgian College, Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital and RVH, as well as serving on a number of provincial committees, including Lake Simcoe Protection. He's also been the chair of governance committees for 2 multi-million-dollar corporations and the founding member of a local service club.
A former school principal, Mayor Hughes holds a master's degree in measurement and evaluation from U of T and a bachelor's degree from Laurier University. He has an extensive mediation expertise and is demonstrated through his experience as a superior court mediator and supervisory officer. Mayor Hughes has a strong interest in healthcare, holding previous board positions with RVH and Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital. He is actively engaged with the provincially funded nurse practitioner clinic located in Oro-Medonte. Mayor Hughes has volunteered his time extensively by coaching a variety of sports teams, including hockey, ringette, and baseball. Achieving provincial championship levels, he was named Oro-Medonte Coach of the Year. He is also an inductee to the Ringette Hall of Fame. Mayor Hughes has also volunteered with the Youth Justice Committee. Mayor Hughes is proud to have led the team that ensured the integrity of the African Church in Oro-Medonte. He is also a recipient of the Canada 150 Volunteer Award, along with winning a national award for innovative use of technology. Mayor Hughes and his wife Loretta have 2 children and 3 grandchildren. Welcome to our conversation, His Worship, Harry Hughes, Mayor of the Township of Oro-Medonte.
Thank you. It's really a treat to be part of this. It's something we should have started doing a long time ago. On the introduction, as I listened to it, I thought that was an introduction that my father would be proud of to hear, and only my mother would believe. Anyway, it's been busy times, and it's really great being active in the community. I'm not going to be very lengthy, or try not to be, and I'm only going to give us a few slices of things that are going on. One of the things that happened in the pandemic, I think we all experienced the same thing. Some businesses really were hit hard. Other businesses really flourished and never have had better business. And a lot of those businesses are continuing. Some of the businesses that flourished were the ones who were able to be really innovative and make some very quick changes. And we did everything we could to support them. I want to tell you the story of one business that you may have heard of. It's MPC, that's Molded Precision Plastics, and they're located in our industrial park. This was a company that was making car parts and winning multi-million-dollar contracts, competing against companies in China and in Mexico, outdoing them. If you visited their industry when they're making the car parts, and even now, they have 3 shifts working, 7 days a week, and the only time that there's anyone in the building is during one of the 8-hour shifts in the day. Robots are working all the time during the rest of the time to produce those. So when the pandemic hit, the car industry just absolutely came to a halt. They had a huge warehouse full of parts for the car industry, and they needed to make a quick change. And they realized there was an avenue for making face shields. They designed one that was really effective, and they needed to retool their whole industry to turn that around. They did that around in 4 months, and with our help, first of all, they needed warehouse space. What we did was we had them move all their warehouse space to our arena floor in the summertime, so they got the space. We had a fire hall that we just built a new one and just moved out of, and they moved their robots that had to be programmed by Georgian College students to that fire hall. They employed, I believe, 30 more employees in that short length of time. And now that the face shield industry is flooded, their multi-million contract is done, they are now have retooled once again to make the containers for the hand sanitation, which is a huge, huge industry. And they're just ready to open their new building to show the production of that. So we work hand in hand with an industry like that. In addition to that they have bought across from the airport 100 acres of land, and they, along with another partner, are working towards setting up a health innovation or a medical innovation area where their objective is to be able to have, if a pandemic strikes again, or it continues. They want to be the one-shop place that all the pandemic supplies can be purchased, even with the lofty goal of being able to produce vaccine. And they're located right across from the Lake Simcoe Airport. So that's the kind of thing that sort of booms out of the end. It came as a company that was willing to pivot, but at the same time, our township jumped in to help them in every area that we could. The other thing that we all adapted to was Zoom in a hurry. I believe we were one of the first municipalities to use multimedia or the Zoom platform to be able to continue with our business at the township. The other thing that we've done extensively, we have an economic development roundtable where a number of businesses sit on it to help us out with giving advice and us helping them work through some of their issues to expand. During the pandemic, one of the hardest hit industries that it was very frustrating. We did a lot of leadership to try to help them with their situation, and that was the ski industry. Even though we have two major ski resorts in Oro-Medonte, that's Horseshoe Valley and Mount St. Louis. And even though they had extensive plans there, the amount of season that they were able to get last year was very limited. But it appears that things have all working through with the government and working with having the plans in place. It appears that they're going to have the opportunity to move forward this year with all their things, which is really great news because the number of employees that are involved in those two industries were absolutely tremendous. The other thing we did to help out businesses and promote Shop Local was that our staff have worked with the Chamber of Commerce. In other words, instead of being sort of two separate operations, they worked hand in hand with the businesses. They went around and wrote up, had a business do a blog, do a feature on them. And then we did it on social media to help people know where they could go to get supplies and to shop local. Not only did we post it on websites and that sort of thing, they actually had a couple of commercials on TV for advertising. That made a tremendous difference to some of our industries. But we just had a microbrewery that just opened as a pandemic, and we really were concerned about that. But what happened was that their business was also another one that boomed. They actually ran out of supplies from time to time because of I guess the demand and people being able to go and pick it up at the door. In Oro-Medonte, we have a huge demand for industrial land. We are in the rare position of having to turn away industries that are wanting to locate new in Oro-Medonte because the province has limits on the amount of industrial land that we're allowed to create. And secondly, we have, from the pandemic, we have businesses that have really boomed and are wanting to expand. And they're so constrained, they can't find the zoned land to be able to do that. Norwood Saws, for example, is one of them that is really taken off during this time. So that has occurred. And we have some new companies moving into some industrial land. We were finally able to free up. I won't go into the issues that has tied that up for a long time. And one of the frustrations, of course, that's happening right now, a number of companies that have finally got the go ahead to be able to, in the zoning of the land, they are really pushing hard to be able to get their footings in the ground so that they can do the building during the winter and open their new business. Some of these, 2 or 3 of these businesses in that industrial park right now are going to employ from probably over 60 to 70 employees. So they are companies that have businesses in other provinces. So on the front for that, the frustration for that has been time getting through all the red tape and those aspects that go with it. One of the areas that we have is experienced a tremendous frustration, which is really promising, is the 200-acre industrial park that we had across from the airport, which we had. It was economic development. It had a condition on it that prevented the operator from moving ahead. We got an MZO to remove that condition. Everything looked like it was moving along well until the owner encountered the conservation authorities, and there's a real difficulties going on there. Where right now they are wanting $3.2 million from him for him to be able to go ahead and advance. He's being held up, and we are working with the province and everywhere we can to get that moving, because that 200 acres is virtually almost all spoken for companies that are wanting to come in and develop there. So on that horizon, things really look good. The other thing that we have in Oromodonte is that we have 650 kilometers of roads that most of them are all paved. Once those roads were paved, the number of home industries that have opened up has absolutely been tremendous. The difficulty we've run into, though, is with getting internet services. We formed an internet connectivity committee, and it's been a real boon for being able to have the knowledge and to capitalize on every opportunity. Because of all the hills and trees in Oromodonte, we have a difficult time with our complete black areas where you can't get connectivity at all. Secondly, some of the connectivity that was there is disappearing. We were able to get a huge chunk of the SWIFT grant that was assisted through the county of Simcoe. A lot of that, unfortunately, has gone to the larger companies, Bell and Rogers. And rather than spreading that out, what they've done is they've taken that money and they're putting fiber. Both of them are putting fiber in the same areas, which is a bit of a consternation, instead of trying to work out the areas that don't have suitable services at all. So we're working on that, and we've mapped. We have a map all worked out of the areas where there is service, where there's not. So people buying will know, and we can work and channel our efforts to try and develop that. We also, on the horizon, when it came to schools, I heard Nina mention schools. We're in the process now of having a new school built in Horseshoe Valley, where we have partnered with the school board to build a community hall on that school. We also were into a situation where the school board was going to close one of our rural schools, and that is a tremendous blow to smaller communities. And we actually were able to work with the province to be able to get extra funding to be able to save that school. So we're going to, that was something that seemed to be remarkable that when we started out, we didn't think we could achieve. The other things have happened, just to highlight from the farmers market, that coming out of the pandemic, on Canada Day, the Chamber of Commerce decided to work with the Township and the Fair Board to open a farmers market, and they opened it on Canada Day. That was a first day that people seemed to be able to get outside and interact with masks. And on that Canada Day, we had about 2,000 people show up there. So that was a real kickoff. That market has been going, and it just closed down just recently. It's been a tremendous success. And I guess the aspect of it, looking at probably one of the question marks is, where's all our workers gone? I'll tell you that Marc's presentation as an explanation, probably to explain that. What has happened, I believe, is that the CERB has allowed people who have lost their jobs or been unable for whatever reason to be able to have the foundation to be innovative and start their own businesses. If you look around and see the number of people that were working for someone else who have now started their own business, it's been, those numbers are really significant, and they're probably in our communities in numbers that we don't recognize. So I'm going to stop there because I know I've probably taken over my time, but I see us emerging from the pandemic. We're going to emerge very strongly, I believe, because of the pent-up demand. But I also believe that the key to our success moving forward is the number of people we get vaccinated, so that we actually can get back to to as close as normality as we can. By the way, I proudly boast in Oro Medonte right now, we have 93% of our population who've had both vaccinations, which I believe is the highest anywhere. And it looks like the government is now going to open up for children from 5 to 12, which is very promising. So I'll stop there.
Very, very, very interesting information. And thank you so much, Your Worship, for sharing the resourcefulness of yourself and the council and the town of Oro Medonte. It was very enlightening information. Again, thank you so much.
Can I have one more plug? I forgot.
Yes.
Just to tell you, we have also landed hometown hockey. It's coming first week in November as well. So
very, very good.
That's
Well, we're
cool.
going to watch for that. Thank you.
So guys, next we would like to introduce His Worship Mike Burkett, Mayor of the Township of Severn. Mike Burkett was born and raised in Severn Township. This is his third term as Mayor of the Township of Severn. Along with his brother, he has operated a small business at the same location for 25 years. So please welcome His Worship Mike Burkett, Mayor of the Township of Severn.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for that introduction. Thank you for the opportunity to say a few words. Township of Severn is the gateway to Muskoka. Whether you're traveling the 400 extension or Highway 11 North, you will pass through our beautiful township. The mighty Severn River divides us at the north end to Muskoka as it travels west to Georgian Bay, home to 3 generation stations within its borders, green energy. All the waters from Lake Simcoe move through Lake Couchiching through a series of small dams in Wasaga, which is a village in Severn, making its way to the Green River, to the Severn, to Gloucester Poole, half of which is in Severn, into Georgian Bay. We are a small township, 13,500 residents, with no large companies. We are blessed with many small business owners and are fortunate to have had a handful of settlement areas. We are an aggregate-rich township. One of our quarries is the 3rd largest in Ontario. Whether you visit Wasaga, Coldwater, Port Severn, or Severn Falls, you will find our township welcoming and worth the drive to visit. When the pandemic hit, we as a township engaged our EOC group. We met every week, sometimes twice a week, closing our township doors to the public and splitting our administration staff into 2 teams. A team in the office on one day and at home the next, B team in the next day. Taking direction from the province and our chief medical officer, we had no COVID cases. Like all of us in the last 18 months have been trying as we all adjusted to this new normal. Today, we are completely open for business. All the safety measures in place as we strive to maintain a safe working environment. Partnerships are a normal part of our daily business practices. We, as a township, are without a chamber of commerce. Some of our small businesses use and are members of the Aurelia Chamber, but also we have membership in Segbay Chamber in Georgian Bay Township. Closing, I want to say a huge thank you to everyone with us tonight, more so everyone involved in the chambers throughout our beautiful area. Job well done. Be safe, everyone, and thank you.
Thank you for that, Your Worship, Mayor Mike Burkett, the Township of Severn. Super appreciate you chiming in and sharing with us this evening.
Next, we would like to introduce the Executive Director of the Aurelia District Chamber of Commerce, Alan Lafontaine. Before joining the Chamber, Alan worked in taxation for 3 decades for municipalities, First Nations, hospitals, school boards, nonprofits, and charities across Canada. His experience brings a national perspective to Aurelia during a period of substantial growth despite COVID-19. Alan is a member of the City of Aurelia Economic Recovery Task Force and president of the Rotary Club of Aurelia. Welcome, Alan Lafontaine, Executive Director, Aurelia District Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you very much. It's great to be here together with this shared cooperation. Hopefully this will continue. I saw a little jab in there about Aurelia versus Wasaga Beach. There's got to be a bet in there somewhere, Steve, I do think. But you know, it's amazing too that when Steve opened up and talked about March, St. Patrick's Day of 2020, I think your perspectives at that time, I don't know about the rest of you, but as a leader, we're looking at job losses. We looked at, you know, there's going to be an economic crisis, a housing crash. There surely had to be some severe economic disparity that would go on. And with not being able to meet in person anymore, of course, Zoom. I didn't buy Zoom shares in the beginning. I wish I would have, and most of us would. And who would have known that Zoom would have turned into Zoom fatigue? Except for it's starting to be a revival again, and people are seeing the benefits of meetings such as this, where we can get together. We don't all have to drive somewhere. And as soon as the meeting's over, maybe some of you are already wearing half of your pajamas underneath what you're wearing now. It was key in the beginning, partnerships. And right away, we started with a partnership with the City of Aurelia, Oromodonte, Severn, Ramera Townships, and Rama First Nations. And we began holding updates to the community, bringing our MPP, Dunlop, our MP, Stanton, and our hospital leader, Carmen Stumpo for the Aurelia Soldiers Memorial Hospital, to update our members on what was going on. Because if you remember, now you get all the information, but back then we were wondering what was going to go on, what was going to happen. And born out of those meetings, of course, Carmen Stumpo, president of the Soldiers Memorial Hospital, is on our board of directors. And he came to us and said, you know, can you push businesses to no mask, no service? We improvised, went back, did a poll to show members, show businesses about consumer confidence, that people weren't going to come into their businesses when there weren't masks worn. So we worked with that. We took those themes, as Steve said, it was uncommon. The Aurelia District Chamber of Commerce, we do events, we run the Port of Aurelia, especially even now as we're heading into opening this summer. How can we run an event when we're used to having 20, 30,000 people come into our parks? So it wasn't intuitive to run these events, and we did the right thing and tried to keep our community safe. We had talks, certainly with many people around this table, about our new marketing slogans, which were, please stay home, but come back when this is over. It wasn't a good message. You were trying to keep people away only because we were trying to keep our community south. And they all came north. This is a time where we would have benefited from our tourism sectors because everybody discovered us, except for there were times when we didn't want them to come. And then, of course, messages from the province of stay home. It's okay to go to your cottage now, but buy all your supplies at home. Imagine the businesses thinking that that might not be a good comment because they would like to make money during that time and keep their businesses open. But we did adapt to shop local with the City of Aurelia Economic Recovery Task Force. We continued a long-standing tradition of promoting shop local. And our residents, and I would imagine every community similar, banded together and supported our businesses. And, you know, Steve had mentioned that there's a kindness campaign, and I do believe people in our area were kind, did take care of each other, and the businesses adapted, learned, changed. In some of the cases, some of these businesses had done better than before. And all of that throughout in Aurelia, we expected maybe boarded up businesses, and there were businesses opening. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and they were talking about hearing those new restaurants open, the new retail businesses, and things have pivoted and changed. In actually February of 2020, with the City of Aurelia, the Chamber had worked with Minister Dunlop on a labor crisis meeting. We were experiencing labor crisis in manufacturing and in construction. So this isn't a new problem, but it certainly is a problem that's been elevated by the pandemic. With we don't think it's entirely SERP, which ends this weekend, by the way, but it was certainly another obstacle that we had to look at. We had to pivot and change at all times. So with our chamber, we knew that our job was simply to provide information and support anywhere we could. Now with the Ontario Chamber of Commerce, a great partner, and the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, along with the federal government and the provincial government, we got rapid tests. We've now ordered over 40,000 rapid tests. We worked with the four Muskoka chambers to provide that program. And now we're going to be launching a $150,000 campaign just in Aurelia Lake Country, Barrie, and partnerships with the other chambers to promote I Choose Local. As we head to Black Friday, it's so important to get that messaging. And I do believe the public has gotten the idea that they need to shop local. It's not always popular to say, but at the chamber, we don't like Amazon. And certainly at the municipality level, we probably don't like Amazon. They don't pay brick and mortar taxes. Those taxes go towards education, healthcare, and fundamentally, our local businesses can't compete. And it's those people in the community that sponsor your ball teams, sponsor the recitals, and anything going on in the community. And that's so important message that we've tried to provide throughout there. You would think that we'd have fatigue, but we have energy. We get told that we couldn't have a Santa Claus parade, so we worked with Hydro One and the City of Aurelia to provide Light Up Aurelia Lake Country. We had something to do for our residents. We developed an app with somebody from the city that had moved away and was an app creator, and we got people to light their businesses and their residents so that we could have something to do to keep that alive. This year, it seems like things are opening up, but with arenas, you can go to a Maple Leaf game, Raptor game, but imagine trying to plan a parade. How do you get 100, 200 door checkers, sell tickets to make sure you're safe and contained with an area? So again, we improvised. We're doing a Santa tour. We're going to drive Santa through the community. We're not going to cause a gathering. We are also doing Light Up Aurelia once again this year. And finally, we borrowed, as we do in the chamber world, from Barrie, a Santa Stops Here. So we're looking at getting Santa into each one of the stores. A new problem existed, which was the sharing place, which is our food bank, recognized that the Santa Claus Parade was the largest contribution to the food bank. 17% of our community has food insecurities. So again, we're pairing with businesses to get them to collect the food needed during that time. I'm sure many of you have stories of how you've had to improvise and what you've had to do during the labor shortage. Tomorrow we're having a labor panel just to start the conversation. And I do believe that we do have to look at, as Mayor Clark had mentioned, some different ways. Millennials were also mentioned, and millennials have a way to the future. And I do believe that, I think it was about 3 years ago, I heard a lot of people my age talking about those millennials, you know, that they don't work as hard. But the truth is they work smarter, and shorter work weeks, flexible time. Why wouldn't you let them take 2 weeks to go a mission to Africa if that's important to them? We as older generation business leaders have to change and adapt and see what that future looks like. So all of our members also provided us a lot of leadership. Not only were we able to hand out the rapid tests, but we handed out hand sanitizer. We handed out masks through the United Way. And Mayor Hughes mentioned David Eamon from MPC Components handed out 8,000 face shields to businesses in Aurelia and Lake Country. And it was a great example. And if anybody wants to go on our YouTube channel, watch our Business Achievement Awards, which we did all virtually I think it's about 30 minutes in, you'll see an amazing and inspiring speech from David, who's a true leader. And I see big things on the horizon for all of our communities once we get to basically catch up to what's been happening. And I think that there's a lot of business people that are fatigued, but once we're out of this, we're seeing the numbers change, that you're going to see some great things into our future. So to all of you chamber leaders that are on the call today, you know, make sure to take care of yourself and your staff. We've all worked hard through this. And I do believe that we can all be proud of this and continue to work on your partnerships with your municipalities, because together we're stronger in this. And thank you to the Wasaga Chamber for putting this together. Let's have many more of these, and let's rethink competition. Everybody has to rethink competition. Our area is the best area that, I think, you know, from all of what we have, all of the assets that we have. That's why GTA's been moving up here. They just finally discovered that this is the best place to live, work, and live. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Alan, for that and your energy that you brought to the table. Super appreciate having you on here this evening. Next, we would like to introduce His Worship, Brian Saunderson, Mayor of the Town of Collingwood.
Mayor Saunderson is a husband, father, lawyer, teacher, coach, volunteer, and municipal politician. He practiced law for over 22 years, starting his career in Ottawa with a national firm before moving to Collingwood with his family in 2001 and joining Christie Cummings, a local law firm. He has appeared before all levels of courts in Ontario, as well as numerous administrative tribunals, and taught business law and ethics at Georgian College. Mayor Saunderson is a great believer in the power of the individual in our communities and has served on boards of numerous not-for-profit organizations, locally, provincially, and nationally. He was Collingwood's deputy mayor from 2014 to 2018 and was elected mayor in 2018. Brian was a member of Canada's rowing team from 1987 to 1992 and is a two-time Olympian and a world silver medalist.
Welcome, His Worship, Brian Saunderson, Mayor of the Town of Collingwood.
Thank you to both of you, and thank you to the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for inviting me tonight, and for all the speakers that have gone before me. It's certainly been inspirational, and I think you can tell the pride with which each of the mayors and speakers has spoken about their community, the resiliency of their community, and the power of their community to work together to overcome what has been a very difficult 18 months. And I certainly think that the power of collaboration and working regionally is going to be a key for our success moving forward. I guess from the Collingwood perspective, in 2018, after being elected, I put together an advisory panel of 12, I think, local business experts, of which Jonathan Smay was one of our very dynamic young voices. And we worked forward to look at our economic development plan moving forward. Little did we know that in less than 4 months, we'd be into a pandemic, which was going to take everything certainly off the straight line. And what we did, like many of our neighbors, was create an economic recovery and support task force, which over the space of about 8 weeks, came back to council with 35 recommendations broken into 6 categories. Economic impact metrics. We were strong believers that if you can't measure, you can't tell how successful you're being. Business support and recovery services, business and tourism relaunch marketing, relaunch events, shop local incentive, and very importantly, support social services. Over the period of the pandemic, we assembled a bunch of social service support groups in our community, and they totaled over 45 by the time we got them all together. And it was a very important voice to have at the table, because we saw a lot of our businesses turn on a dime to create PPE, to create hand sanitizer, and to provide food for those that were in jeopardy. And so we really saw how our community worked together. So coming out of the pandemic, and we're still working our way through that, we did finalize our Vision 2025, which was is our economic development plan moving forward. And we really broke it down into 3 critical pieces, and that is making Collingwood a hub for sustainability innovation, promoting Collingwood as a great place to live and work. And we have certainly seen in all of our communities the pressures from the GTA to move up here and get out of the big city to enjoy rural life, and also to telecommute. And we've certainly seen a huge growth of that in our community. And to ensure that Collingwood is investment ready. So that is really our 3 main prongs of our economic vision moving forward. And what really surprised me is that when our group sat down, we put them in a room for 2 days essentially, and they volunteered their time. But what they did is they reverse engineered our community-based strategic plan. They found a business purpose to pursue all the priorities that our community had identified as what makes Collingwood great and what we should be focusing on to make sure that we continue to be a great community. So we found a business reason to reinforce what our community plan was. And I think that's been a real eye-opener for myself and for our council and for our BIA. And what we're seeing, I think where the rubber hits the road for us locally, is that we're home to the Small Business Enterprise Center. We're one of 57 of those centers across Ontario. And our center supports residents or business people from the town of Blue Mountains, Clearview Township, the town of Wasaga Beach, and the town of Collingwood. And they have provided programs that have been informed and strengthened, I think, through the pandemic experience. So we're seeing the need to strengthen our internet connection. We're seeing the need to make sure that we support our storefronts, that we are helping to try to connect labor. As we're hearing across the board, there's a shortage. We need to connect employers with the employees, create job opportunities, create job training, and create coaching and ability for funding options. Collingwood went through a huge disruption in 1986 with the closure of our shipyards. It had been our dominant industry for 104 years. We were essentially a one industry town. And since that time, we've learned the need to diversify. We've had to come back better and stronger from that. And so it's really in 2012, we were identified by the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses as one of the top entrepreneurial communities across Canada of any size. And that has continued from that time. And I think what's that's shown us is that if you wanted to stay in Collingwood after the shipyards closed, you had to create your own job. and find your own way. And so we really have an entrepreneurial strength here, and we need to feed that and to grow that. And so we've undertaken a number of measures, including investing $150,000 in an accelerator. And through the first cohort of our accelerator, we've tried to identify 4 or 5 local businesses with staff under 5 with the mandate to double their staff in the first year. And that will be a metric for us going forward with our accelerator project. But I'm going to go over a couple of services that the Small Business Enterprise Center provides, because I think it's it may be helpful for those listening to know, but it also shows, I think, how the rubber hits the road for not only Collingwood, but for a number of our neighboring municipalities, Clearview, Wasaga Beach, and the town of the Blue Mountains, and how we try to support and encourage business development and establishing new businesses in town. So one of the first is free business consultations for regional businesses. They get advice on business planning, labor, and available funding. And they get access to local mentors in the areas such as human resources and accounting for one-on-one coaching. There's a summer company and a starter company program that's administered through the Small Business Enterprise Center. It puts thousands of dollars of provincial grant funding into the hands of new entrepreneurs to start businesses in Southern Georgian Bay, whether they be summer students, young entrepreneurs starting out of high school, or new entrepreneurs to the community. We focused on Digital Main Street, which encourages business to grow and get an online presence, which has been critical over the last 18 months. But it also helps them to get a digital footprint so that they can get known outside of the area. We've looked at Main Street modernization programs. We are connecting technology to Main Street so that our bricks and mortar businesses are encouraged to explore other avenues. And we're also creating ways for pedestrians or visitors to town to have a wayfinding service through the Discover Collingwood app, which is a free app you can download on your phone. And that's just been launched and it's had huge uptake. And we've updated the Live More Now campaign, which is our online website, which is it's a dedicated economic development website. It provides statistical and demographic resources for businesses looking to come to the area. It highlights local success stories, and it encourages business owners and entrepreneurs to reach out for our business consultation services to learn more. I've talked about the Technology and Innovator Accelerator. We're very excited about that as we conclude our first year. And there are partnerships with the County of Simcoe with workforce initiatives, such as the workinsimcoe.ca job site and annual skilled trades expo. So I think there's a lot that we're seeing each of our municipalities do locally, but I think there's lots of opportunity for collaboration. There's a lot of synergy in what we're doing. And frankly, if an employee from Collingwood works in Oro Medonte or Wasaga Beach or Clearview, that's all great for Simcoe County. And so I think that if we can encourage those in our region to work in our region, that is a very important aspect of protecting ourselves and making ourselves more pandemic proof as we move forward. And recently, when Collingwood was ranked by Maclean's magazine as one of the top 22 cities to live in Canada, it noted that 66% of our labor force works in Collingwood. And I think that's a great circular statistic. And I think it's something that we should be encouraging not only in our local municipalities, but across our region, so that we have that labor force and we are making ourselves local, shop local, work local, and be local. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you tonight. It's been an interesting discussion.
Thank you, Your Worship, Brian Sanderson, for your insight and responsiveness to what the community is looking for during the last 18 months. We would now like to introduce the president of the Blue Mountains Chamber of Commerce, Tony Poole.
Tony is a retired financial services senior executive with over 35 years of diverse experience as a CEO and president across Canada and the United States. His business experience includes financial services, insurance, retail, technology, business development, mergers and acquisitions, and sales and marketing. His background has provided him with diverse expertise in the strategizing and tactical execution of projects from conception to completion, with a focus on understanding and meeting the needs of shareholders and customers.
Tony sits on a number of community boards, including the Chamber of Commerce, Thornbury BIA, Economic Development Committee for the Town of the Blue Mountains, and Laura Bay Community Association. Along with his wife, Josie, Tony also owns a local retail business in Thornbury known as the Sincerely Yours Boutique. Tony is committed to the philanthropic causes that provide a balanced approach to recognizing both the financial and social economic benefit of effective community partnerships. This experience includes infrastructure build projects in communities across Canada, US, and around the globe. Welcome, Tony Poole, President of the Blue Mountain Chamber of Commerce.
Well, thank you very much for that kind introduction, Michelle and John. It's interesting this evening to listen to all what's occurred in the local municipalities, and I think that the one thing that stands out to me is the commonality in all of the experiences, and in particular some of the solutions that each of the towns have come up with, and also the chambers. I think the town of Blue Mountain is a bit unique in respect of our business base. Is predominantly based on tourism and agriculture, and to a lesser degree, more traditional businesses. But the tourism sector and the ski hills being a big employer and a draw for tourism was significantly impacted from COVID, as was everything else in the local areas. But I think, we went through the last 18 months, and the chamber itself was kind of an event or support mechanism. We hosted social occasions and after 6 events, and we did some things to help provide communication to the business. I think what fundamentally happened is we had to change our role, and we became more of an advocate for the business community than we had prior done. One of the speakers tonight used the term a pivot and change. I mean, I think it's pretty clear whether you're in municipal government or you're in business or you're an average citizen, the one thing that's been clear to all of us who have gone through the last 18 months, it's critical that we indeed pivot and change. And all of what we've had to do, from the daily activities in our life to reinventing our relationships, including our families and also the businesses. In particular, the chamber started in about 18 months ago when the town itself created a COVID recovery task force. And from that, we started to delve into the real issues and then look to see what kind of support we could get: municipal support, provincial support, and then federal support. And so we started to gather information from various members and the experience they were having. And we used that as a basis to generate correspondence to the various parties so that we could relay the hardships that people were impacted by and how it was going to hurt us and what we needed to do moving forward. So obviously some of the things that we did along with other municipalities was we had a shop local campaign, and we also shifted the parking facilities that we had and reallocated parking spaces for restaurants who did not have patios, and we used that for outside dining when that was allowed. We changed a lot of the mechanism and addressed personal protection and put in support programs for businesses, and really started to provide a venue of communication, because one of the things that became clear to us was our members generally were confused and really didn't understand all of the different resources they had, in particular the provincial grant and the federal loans that were available. So we started to find that we were producing information on where they could get that, and we were helping them and assisting them in applying for it. So those were the obvious things. The interesting thing about it all was that as much as there were some businesses that were inadvertently affected and unfortunately succumbed to it, there was amazing how many businesses excelled, and entrepreneurs, people who moved to the community, all of a sudden there were new businesses here. And the number of people who actually are members of the chamber expanded. Our concern was we were going to actually see a decrease. And so the fact is we actually grew. And I think that is a reflection, as every community has talked about this evening, which is that we did see people move from the larger urban centers to more of the smaller towns. And it also affected us like everyone else. The good news and the bad news. The bad news, all of a sudden our parks and our beaches became problematic. And so that created its own issues. But I think from all of this and the experience that we've had, there's been a lot of really important learnings. And that is that people have responded. Businesses have become innovative. They've invested in technology. A lot of our businesses did not have an online presence. And so during the last few months, we've noticed that most of the businesses have developed online shopping as a facility. They've invested in point of sale technology in their stores. So they've put some of that money that was made available to them through funding into improving their business operations. And that's been very important. So that the fact is that the businesses are now flourishing. And while we do have some challenges ahead, I think the thing that we're pleased to see is that with sometimes the things that happen when you have a pandemic, there is opportunity for us to all grow and achieve success. And I think this evening, certainly from my perspective, it's interesting to see how uniform it has been through all the different municipalities. And so I just want to say to you, at the town of Blue Mountain, we're looking forward to better days ahead, and just happy to participate in this session this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tony. We super appreciate your insight there. We are now going to introduce the president of the Southern Georgian Bay Chamber of Commerce, Peter Costu. Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly.
Peter has been with the board for 4 years. It has given him the opportunity to meet many interesting people in the community and learn about their businesses and organizations. Peter realizes the importance of Southern Georgian Bay, the growth opportunities that are available, while also enjoying the region's charm and natural beauty. Peter has lived in Midland for 17 years with his wife and 2 daughters. Since 2016, he has managed Super Shredding, a mobile
Superior.
Oh, sorry, my apologies. Superior Shredding, a mobile document shredding company out of Penetang Machine. Peter looks forward to continuing his role on the board as well as in the community.
Welcome, Peter Costu, President, Blue Mountains Chamber of Commerce.
Thanks very much. It's good to meet you all. First, I'd like to thank the Wasaga Beach Chamber of Commerce for having this forum. I think it's a great idea, and I'm very glad to be part of it for sure. And it's also good to hear very interesting things tonight by the various speakers. So it's very, very good to be here. It would probably be best for me to start with a little bit of a background that would set up the Chamber's goal and position in the community. I joined the Southern Georgian Bay Chamber of Commerce in 2016. At a time, the Chamber was run by its general manager. It was well run actually by its general manager, and had the backing of a very knowledgeable board. The membership numbers were good, but the attendance at chamber functions was poor. Members just were not engaged. Social media exposure was also quite weak. It was becoming a concern that members were going to start questioning the value of their membership. What I found was that the chamber as a whole was very insular. It was limiting itself in who it was speaking to, and as a result, not being as effective as it could be. My travels across Canada, I had seen several small towns with vibrant chambers, often doubling as information and tourist hubs. They were bright, welcoming, knowledgeable, and showing of many aspects of the community. They often had maps and pictures of the area on the walls, maybe some history of the area, works of art by local artisans on display and also for sale. My guess is that they probably didn't have a big budget, but they certainly did the most with what they had. By contrast, The Southern Georgia Bay Chamber of Commerce was in a building with a good location, but was located in an upstairs office with little signage. There was a rack of pamphlets, some posters, and generic maps. Functional, but not very inviting, and certainly not very unique. Within a year, I was fortunate enough to become president, and within a year after that, the general manager was retiring from her position. A new general manager was hired, and a new vision for the chamber was set forth. The chamber was set up to, the first step was to make the chamber more visible. Physically, we moved the chamber to the first floor, which gave us street access, patio, flowers, signs, and not only chamber signs, but big blue letter I's to signify information, helping to draw the public so that the chamber would be able to provide information about local businesses, organizations, and events to the public, not just to its members. It was a transformation into a community hub for information. This transformation can and was slow, but by including the community and not just business owners, we have widened our audience which in turn gives business more exposure. It has also given our chamber credibility as an information hub, increasing the value of membership. We are a chamber that relies solely on membership for survival, its dues, sorry, and its members. So it's imperative that we retain as many as possible. So how does all this translate into what has been going on today? People in the community are using our chamber for information and services. For example, at the start of COVID, the chamber engaged the community by digitally reporting information coming from the government regarding programs and businesses, employees, and the public. We also handed out masks that were donated to us by the United Way and are continuing a very successful rapid testing campaign. We hosted COVID relief webinars related to programs and subsidies. We also had a rally for restaurants, which rewarded customers who ate at our members' restaurants by giving them $30 gift certificates to other member restaurants. And because of our increased visibility in the community, people were calling and coming to us about these chamber programs rather than us trying to find them. Again, it's about widening the audience, having the community involved, and them bringing their attention to our members. And with a larger audience, members have been getting more involved in the chamber events and see value in advertising through the chamber. This brings me to what our chamber focuses on quite a bit, and that's social media. Our chamber puts out 50 to 70 posts a week promoting our members. We have found that engagement is directly related to the quality of posts. They can't just be about businesses, they have to be engaging and interesting. Historical facts, photos, landmarks, local trivia, short videos, and interviews. The Chamber's General Manager, Kathy Tate, and her staff are great at putting this all together. They certainly deserve all the credit for this. It does take time, creativity, and must be consistent, but for us, it has paid off. We now have engagement in the thousands, making the Chamber more attractive to organizations and businesses as a megaphone in the community. But what is important is that the posts target the community as well, not just the members. For example, not just after 5 meetings, but also about fun things that are going on in the community. We have found that being exclusive to members is limiting. We help new businesses, nonprofits, and charities. In the end, there is a good chance when approached later, they'll become members as they realize the value of the chamber. Finally, I'd also like to say that we find it imperative to relay facts, not on opinion, through the chamber. We have found that our best approach is as relayers of information. Being a small chamber, we have found it's best not to support local political issues and leave that to the bigger organizations. It's easy to get bogged down in politics, especially these days. We find we are most productive when working in and for our community. In summary, first, we made the chamber physically more noticeable by making it more accessible and attractive. Second, we think of our chamber as a community hub of information, kind of like a one-stop shop for community info, not just for our members. And third, we use social media a lot. It's effective, free, efficient, and allows us to reach large audiences. Our goal is to become more valuable to our members, show them worth, and it will bring them back and get them involved. We find this has created an energy in the chamber and within the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter, for showing us the enterprise and vigor that a chamber can bring to a community. Thank you very much. We have, moving forward, we would like to introduce His Worship, Doug Measures, Mayor of Clearview Township.
Awesome. After a 34-year career in television production, Doug Measures was first elected to council in 2006 for Ward 1. Mayor Measures became His Worship of Clearview Township in 2018. Doug's passion for community involvement complements his local knowledge of the township, having lived in the community since 1977, along with the First Lady and their 2 boys.
Mayor Measures has proudly served the community and its citizens for over 15 years. He currently sits on the Simcoe County Council and represents the county on the redevelopment committee for the Regional Hospital, Collingwood General, and Marine. Mayor Doug Measures has a strong focus on the township's strategic goals with an emphasis on creating an economic climate for new investments, jobs, as well as continued revitalization of the community now and post-pandemic. Welcome His Worship, Doug Measures from the Clearview Township.
Thank you very much, John and Michelle. It's great to see you guys again, and thank you to everybody, the participants tonight. Wasaga Beach Chamber, hats off. Good job putting something together here. Listen, you know, we've heard a lot of great comments tonight. I'd like to just do a quick review. You know, as municipal leaders, we're all, you know, I firmly believe all municipal leaders have been working a lot more during this pandemic. They put in a lot of hours. We've sat in front of these computers for days on ends, it seems. And, you know, we're all trying to do the best we can. But there's one thing about municipal leaders is that they're here to work for the community and represent the best of the community that we can. And we will find those people every day in our communities, and we'll celebrate them any way we can. So, you know, we've heard a lot about how this pandemic has played out. You know, it's nothing new for Clearview as far as we haven't been any different than all of the rest of our communities that we heard from tonight. But I would like to say that one of the things that I was quite particularly proud of is our council addressed some of the immediate social concerns that were happening in the community. We immediately created a COVID relief fund. That fund was simply put together with some reserve funding that we had available to us. One of the features of the fund that we created was that benevolent community members could also contribute to the fund to help build it up. And that way, you know, we would actually have more funding to be able to help social services in our community. Impressive, within 5 days of creating the fund went from $20,000 to $35,000 just with a couple of donations by community members. And they're to be thanked and acknowledged because they stepped up to help our community. So that's something I want to acknowledge. The other thing that happened too is that you know, we've heard the word pivot. I believe one of our representatives talked about pivot. We have a very active tourism department here at Clearview Township. And I have to give hats off to the staff at our tourism department who immediately pivoted to recognizing that community businesses, you know, we're going to be facing a reopening strategy or something that was going to cause them all, obviously, to be panicking about how to get people to line up in lines, or, you know, where to get masks, or where to get hand sanitizer. So we have a very active tourism team that immediately pivoted into sort of an economic development role and started helping local businesses by doing that across Clearview Township, you know, from gas stations to restaurants to hardware stores to the rental center. You'll see these beautiful yellow dots on the floor where people stand. And so we're really happy that they're out there. It was a great, simple thing to do, to print them up, and we're really happy that our staff were able to do that. I do want to say something else about municipal leaders. You know, if you all recall, at the beginning of this pandemic, we started hearing about, you know, the yellow zones and the green zones and the red zones and the gray zones. And I want to acknowledge Mayor Saunderson, and you know, he wrote a letter to the Dr. Gardner in regards to the disparity that was happening between Grey County and Simcoe County. And I supported that by following up with an email directly to Mr. Gardner. And I was quite impressed that many municipal leaders stepped up and did the same to voice their concern and to basically defend the needs of local businesses and people that were genuinely trying to deliver the best services they could as a business. And so I know Mayor Bifolci, you also wrote a great letter to the Premier. So there was a lot of things that happened here that you know, that I believe has has proven that our communities are resilient and are going to bounce back. We also have leaders that want to represent and do a good job of representing the best of our communities. So very, very pleased that that's how it's gone down. And so again, we're not too different than all the rest of the things you've heard here tonight. I do want to acknowledge a couple of things that happened though. I heard somebody mention the Santa Claus parade earlier. And so I just want to give a shout out to the Kinsman Club in Stayner, because the Kinsman Club in Stayner, they all organize the Stayner Santa Claus parade every year. This time they took Santa and drove him all around the community, and they gathered food for the food bank and donations. And, you know, that was a really cool little event that those Kinsmen put together. The firefighters also participated. The volunteer firefighters helped them out. It was so significant, actually, that we entered it into the Festivals and Events Ontario awards category, and they actually won an award and an acknowledgement for being creative during COVID to create a little community event that also helped the community. So hats off to them. And the other thing I just want to mention too is, you know, Clearview Township has reinstituted a Economic Development Action Committee, which I'm very, very pleased it's happening in this term of council. We have had an active Economic Development Committee in the past, and it did not exist at the last term. It's active again this term. We have great participation from the BIA in Creemore, and also from our amazing Clearview Chamber of Commerce. Kelly's a member here on our committee, and so we're very happy that she's here with us. And I understand, John, she's coming up next. So I tell you what, I'm going to end it there and just thank everybody for participating. Good job, everybody. Happy to be on the team.
Thank you, Your Worship. Super appreciate hearing from you and seeing you here on Zoom. We'll take it any way we can see people these days. Next, we'd like to introduce the president of the Clearview Chamber of Commerce, Kelly Kramer. Kelly has been the chamber president since June of 2020 and comes to the position with over 35 years of business experience. Alongside her husband, Carson, they ran an automotive parts business for over 20 years. The business operated in 4 countries under the ISO standard with a couple of hundred employees. Kelly brings this knowledge to the position and helped write and streamline the chamber's policies and procedures for a better organizational structure. After retiring to Wasaga Beach in 2010, both Carson and Kelly decided retirement was not for them and retrained in web development and have owned and operated Shine Web Creations since 2012. Shine offers custom web development for business management processes, as well as template websites and social media marketing for their clients. Welcome, Kelly Kramer, President of Clearview Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. I want to thank the Wasaga Beach Chamber for putting this on. It's a great event. I've been writing notes. I'm going to steal some of your ideas. They've been great. We're going to talk. I'm going to talk to a few of the chamber presidents. I like some of the things you're doing, and I'm going to steal them, quite frankly. I took on the president's role right after COVID hit. So all of everything I've been doing has actually been through Zoom. But we have grown our chamber. But part of it has to do with we rebranded from the Stayner Chamber to the Clearview Chamber. And we've been trying to reach out to all of the community, including the BIA and the Kinsmen and all the different organizations to get input from all of them on how to help the businesses. I've been very lucky with, I call him Mayor Doug. He's been a great source of information for me. I did join the EDAC with him, and I'm the conduit for the businesses. I bring ideas that they bring to me to that EDAC meeting. I thought that's been very helpful to the businesses. They feel like they're getting heard. We were great because I'm social media and websites. We increased our website, and we also were quite instrumental in handing out information to our businesses through our newsletters like the rest of you did. That seems to have been very appreciated. A few things that we've got on our events. I always look forward. We've learned from things in the past, but I'm always looking forward. Some of the things we've got on the go is instead of a Black Friday, we're on our 3rd year of a White Wednesday. So we're doing this on November 24th, and it's across all of Clearview. It doesn't cost the stores anything. They just have to put a poster up, let us know that they're participating, and we're putting that out on radio stations and newspapers. Just try to get boots in the door, get the Christmas season started. So that's one thing we're doing. We participated with the Clearview Tourism. As Doug says, we have an amazing tourism department, and they are excellent for helping us with information. We did the Tasty Tours map for them so that people could find all the restaurants and specialty stores for the Taste of Clearview, which is one of our big events here. Look for the maps around and please visit some of our restaurants. There's some amazing ones in our Clearview Township. We're also this year trying to make a more seamless flow for our Clearview Christmas with a shop local feature. We're just developing that right now. And as we all know, we have to wait to see if there's going to be a Santa Claus parades, but we are starting with some tree lighting in a couple of areas and a shop local feature to be displayed coming soon. We're working on that right now. One thing that is new for us this year is it's going to be our first International Women's Day in March. And we're going to hold it in Creemore, but we're going to try and promote women in business. As we started looking around, we started to realize a lot of our entrepreneurs in Clearview are women. So we want to pay special attention to them and have a women's entrepreneurship award at that event. And other than that, we're always looking for different ideas to help get boots in the door and bums in the seat, as I say. So anybody that has any ideas, I'd really like to hear them. And thank you again for having me. And it's been a great event. I've learned so much from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. I want to just say thank you to all of the leadership that we have heard from here tonight. You know, it's not easy being a leader, especially it's easier to be a leader when everything is going great. But for all of the leaders that were sitting in through a time like this, let me tell you, our hats go off to you. As Mayor Saunderson said, it comes down to when the rubber hits the road. You will really see who's here in it to win it and for the people. And we super appreciate having you on this call tonight. It's so exciting to hear what our neighboring townships and towns have been doing inside this last 18 months of trials and tribulations. Yes. And so super appreciate to have you all as our neighbors in this together. So guys, without further ado, we are going to go into, I believe, the trivia prize next.
Yeah, we're just gonna, if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat and we will circle up with you guys afterwards via email, but drop any questions that you had from any of our speakers tonight. We're gonna keep moving along here because we have some things to still get through. So please just drop those questions in the chat, okay? Because we do have some more prizes.
So it's time for trivia. And
oh, look at this.
We have another copy of the 50-Year-Old Millennial from Marc Petitpas. And we are gonna go with the next questions. Type it in the chat. Here we go.
So this Canadian entrepreneur used to be an RCMP officer before founding Boston Pizza. In 2006, oh, there's already answers. He appeared for the first time on CBC's Dragon's Den, where young entrepreneurs pitch their business ideas in hopes of getting financial backing from one of the dragons. Which dragon is he? A, B, C, or D? I'm not very good at pronouncing names, so.
Robert Hirabek. The answer is Jim Treleving. And I feel like right up here we see Janet Curry. Janet Curry as I think the first one to answer. Congratulations, Janet, who answered correctly with answer C. All right, next item for live auction.
Well, no, now we have our live auction. That was trivia.
Now we have our live auction.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, so guys, we do this because the proceeds of the live auction is going to go towards our holiday social in November, and the money raised will go towards prizes and the live auction to raise funds for a program like the food bank. And here's your first one. It's the Party Pack
Collection.
Woo-hoo.
Chuck's Roadhouse. We have a lineup of global cocktails. Mix the drink of your pleasure, and you know, use some group therapy practice sign right at behind there.
Oh yeah, and the boombox. What about the boombox?
And my favorite, the I Heart Cats coat hanger. Like, come on, there it is right there. I wanted to give you a close up on that. And like, who could not just be a cat lover? And so there's a bottle of wine there also. It's from Miomi. It's, I believe, a Pinot Noir.
And a gift card from Boston Pizza.
Uh-huh.
And
this is all donated by Cindy Boothford from Remax by the Bay Brokerage.
So guys, we're going to open this up right now. You're going to use the chat right now. We think this package is phenomenal, and we think that the bid should start at $75.
So can we get first bid coming in at $75 for this amazing prize pack with the cocktails, the bottle of Pinot Noir?
I love cats. Whoa, Mark's at 100. Okay, so we have 100 already.
So let's see if we can get 110. Can we get 110?
110, 125. Come on, guys. Let's go, let's go. You guys don't want Mark to get this, do you? 110. Kelly's at 110.
Thank you, Kelly. Super appreciate your participation. And so, yeah, here we go. Let's get.
Come on, guys. I would like to see.
Zdenka. Thank you, Zdenka, for the bid of 120.
All right, guys, we're going here. We're going.
If anybody knows anything about that bottle of wine, I'm pretty sure it's $35 at
125.
least.
125, Kelly.
Kelly, congrats.
Kelly wants this package.
Let me see.
We're all going to Kelly's house. If nobody, whoa.
Thank you, Zdenka.
130. Okay, we have some real competition here.
We're gonna let this go
for like
5 more seconds.
5, 4. It's at 130, 132, 132. Kelly, 132. Going once.
There's
Kelly.
Oh,
132.
And Zdenka at 135. Are we gonna leave it at 135?
I see a 137, 137. 145.
If you love cats,
4,
you want this.
3, 2, sold.
To Zdenka Stasinski, congratulations, Zdenka. We are gonna give you the details on this.
Yay! We're all coming to your house. Okay, so we will give you details on where to pick that up. Don't you worry. We're not gonna leave you high and dry here. Okay, here's our next bid up for auction.
It's a gift card collection.
Oh my gosh, we have so many gift cards. We have Beach Dental Hygiene Studio, 1 cleaning. And then we have, is that Martino Tax Solutions?
Yes, 1 tax return.
Wow. And then that Canine Charisma, 1 full groom. Swiss Chalet, 2 chicken quarter dinners, yes please. And Boston Pizza.
Gift certificate. So, where are we starting?
Oh, on this one, I mean, I think 75 is pretty reasonable. You have 5 gift cards in there.
5 gift cards.
And then you could re-gift those for Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay, 75. Oh, Kelly, 100. 100. 125 going up. 130. Who's 130? 130.
We have Leslie in at 125. 125. Can we get a 130? There's Zdenka in at 130. Thank you. Can we get a 135 on this?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we can. We have a lot of social things coming up. You have a lot of like Christmas things to do.
Has anybody gone to the dentist for under $100? I know I haven't. So that's right in there.
135, 140, guys. Come on. Okay, we got to keep moving.
Has anybody gotten a Boston Pizza?
140, 140.
Let's see if we can get 140.
It's the last opportunity. Here we go. 5, 4. 140, 140, 137, 3, 2, 1.
Sold.
Kelly
Kramer, 135. Congratulations.
All right. Let's go to Swiss Chalet, Kelly. All right. Guys, thank you so much.
So we are going to run through some announcements and reminders, and we're just going to give you the top titles of them here because of the time restraints. We super appreciate everyone's time.
You know your time is valuable, guys.
Yeah, so here we go. We have a community information guide. It's just an advertisement that gets released in the area. It's going to post in January. To view the 2021 digital version, see wasagachamber.com/news.php.
Yeah, and email you did say to email the office to get included, right? Because the advertisement placements for the 2022 guide are well underway and close at the end of October.
Yes, so get us this information by the end of October. It's going to be mailed via Canada Post to household and businesses in Wasaga Beach, as well as selected postal codes in the region for January. So this might be a great opportunity to showcase your business. We have rapid test kits. So we're working in partnership with Barrie and Collingwood Chambers to provide businesses in Wasaga with workplace self-screening rapid test kits. These kits are free. So
And they can be placed
orders can
online.
be placed online via the Barrie or Collingwood Chamber of Commerce.
So order your kits up and make sure that you're helping to protect our community, guys. Oh yeah, we have our holiday social coming up.
And we hope to have it in person, but just hang tight, stay close with us, stay in touch.
If everybody can do this, that would be helpful. Fingers crossed, join us for a fun, hopefully, fingers crossed, in live person evening.
Yeah, that is going to be, save the date, Thursday, November 25th, after 5 p.m.
Only happening after 5. And is Rob still with us, Sarah?
No, Rob.
Yeah.
Oh, yay! Okay.
Hey everybody, I'll make this quick too. I get a hockey game at 8:30 in Collingwood in the men's league, and I play with Property Valet. They're proud members of the Blue Mountain Chamber, and we're undefeated, and we're going against the undefeated team tonight.
Whoa.
For all of you that don't know me, my name's Rob Dow, and I work for a firm called Alta Vista Planning Partners. We are the exclusive advisors for the Chamber of Commerce Employee Benefit Plan that is available to every chamber member. So our office is located in Aurelia, and I'm humbled to say I work and live locally in this beautiful town of Collingwood. The Chamber's plan is Canada's leading employee benefit plan with comprehensive options for you and your firm. So if anyone is interested in a free consultation or is considering benefits for their employees, please don't hesitate to reach out to me with any questions or support. My team at Alta Vista would be happy to provide you with more information and proper guidance you need to choose a benefit plan that's best for you and your employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob. Good luck on the game.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers. We have Know Your Resources. So there's an open house January 27th, 2022 to get to know the resources and benefits of the Chamber. So
mark that date down.
Mark that date down in your calendar.
And then let's not forget about the digital marketplace where you can sign up for your free listing, and the website is listed there on the slide in front of you with a video recording of step-by-step live demonstration, also available at the wasagachamber.com website /news.php.
Or you can visit the YouTube channel. We have next our Stay Up to Date newsletter. The Chamber is proud to be the community voice and support for businesses, sending regular communications through our newsletter and e-blasts with up-to-date info on all our virtual events, promotions, and opportunities, as well as updates from our community and government partners. I would say you want to be on this newsletter, right? To just know exactly what is going on.
Stay in the know.
Yeah, get in the know, right? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is everything. We have now our slide on membership benefits. As a reminder to review all membership benefits on our website, including the self-employed and employee health benefit program through Alta Vista Planning Partners, only accessible as a chamber member. Before we pass on the mic over to Leslie for closing remarks, we'd like to also introduce just quickly 2 new members. Jude St. Fleur is a senior partner and financial advisor at Eau de Claire Partners, and we want to welcome him as a new member to the chamber. And we also have Brian Walker of Walker Consulting. He holds multiple trade licenses that are HVAC centered. So thank you very much, Brian Walker Consulting, for also joining the chamber. Now we want to pass over the closing remarks to our president, Leslie Listro.
Thank you very much, John and Michelle. I would like to thank everybody who participated tonight. I am overwhelmed by the information that's been shared. I was certainly struck by the commonality of many of the initiatives that have been taken over the last 18 months, but also really appreciate the insights that you've shared on what our future challenges are going to be, as well as some of the really unique and creative ways in which you have used our connection with our businesses to respond to their needs and to help survive what's been unprecedented. I think one of the things that was most interesting for me tonight was a common recognition that the traditional business model that we've all supported is in flux, and that we as their advocates are going to need to be able to change in order to support their changing needs. And so that was really reinforced for me tonight by what all of you said. And I just really want to say thank you to everybody for participating. I think this was an incredible event, and I look forward to strengthening this collaboration and partnership as we move forward. Good night.
Thank you very much, Leslie. Thank you again to everyone who participated tonight, presented, and just participated and listened in what we had to say. I'm not sure if there's anything else that we need to add to this. Sarah will chime in and tell us, but without further ado, we definitely want to wish you all a good night.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you all.